And so now I'd like to transition because we have some incredible speakers that are coming up here. So the first speaker that I would like to welcome up on stage is Emma Rosenbaum, who is a senior at Bedford High School. And let me tell you a little bit about Emma. She is a leader. She's co-captain of the varsity women's basketball team at Bedford High School. She is creator and publisher of the Runaway Bulldog, Bedford High School's independent newspaper. Emma spent last summer as one of only 83 high school students in the entire country who was invited to be a resident at Northwestern University's prestigious Metal Journalism Institute. Would you please join me in welcoming Emma Rosenbaum to the stage?
Thank you, Senator. I feel like I've always heard the phrase, "you can do anything." Like teachers and other adults just spouted it at me as a kid. My mom was so perplexed when I told her that, I got a little worried. I had to make sure I wasn't alone, that everyone had heard this and I wasn't just some superstar prodigy. So I did what every person does when they need answers. I surveyed my Instagram followers. I found that every single one of them, at some point in their life, has heard the same thing. But what does it mean, you can do anything? What's the point of saying that to a kid? Is it an attempt at empowerment? Because what does empowerment even mean? Like, you can do anything, it's used frequently, but before this presentation, I could not have defined it for you. A month ago, when I was asked to do this, and I came up with my topic, I tried to explain it to my dad. I'm trying to talk about empowerment and the importance of activism for empowerment. He looked at me and said, "What do you mean by empowerment?" So I Googled it. Oxford Dictionary, the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. Collins Dictionary, the process of giving a person or group power and status in a particular situation. Merriam-Webster, the act of empowering someone. It's not particularly helpful. But they define empower as promoting the self-actualization or influence of. And self-actualization is a process. So empowerment is a process, and if it's a process, then empowering women starts with girls. We're here tonight to talk about how to empower women, how to make a change. This is activism, identifying a problem, voicing our ideas and opinions, and trying to take action. And we, young women and girls, need to be a part of it. I wanted to look at the most prominent example of teenage activism right now. I hope everyone knows who that is. I recommend pretending if you don't. It's Greta Thunberg, 16-year-old climate activist, possibly just that Swedish girl everyone's talking about. But since she was 8 years old, she has been itching to do something about climate change. On August 20th, 2018, she skipped school and sat outside the Swedish parliament by herself. After that very day, people took notice of her and started to join her. She began to skip school almost every Friday to protest. On August 28th, 2019, a little over a year after her initial protest, she arrived in the US after sailing across the Atlantic. On September 18th, she testified before Congress. On September 20th, she led the largest climate protest in history. And on September 23rd, she spoke to the UN, or yelled at them. So what? She's made some noise. She's gotten people's attention. But has she truly made a tangible change? I mean, yes, she's brought awareness. I don't want to undercut what she's done in any way. But she's gotten halfway, and she needs adults to get the full way there. Does anyone know what happened after she spoke with Congress? Did they talk about making a plan for action? Was the idea of a bill thrown around? What about after she spoke with the UN? Let's look at what people said in response to her speeches and protest. Theresa May's office. Everyone wants young people to be engaged, but it's important to emphasize that disruption wastes lesson time. That time is crucial for young people so they can develop into the top scientists and advocates we need to tackle this problem. Vladimir Putin. I'm sure Greta is a very kind and sincere girl, but adults must do everything not to bring teenagers and children into extreme situations. If we want to be effective, we must stay professional. Professor William Stewart of Georgetown Law. Adult activists use children to advance their agendas and silence their critics. Ms. Thunberg serves as a tool for professional activists. There's this notion out there that if you're in high school or you're a kid, you don't know anything. Your opinions automatically don't matter. While listening to the quotes I just read, I'm sure there are adults in this room who made faces or thought, oh, I disagree with that. I'm sure there are adults across the country and the world that would have the same reaction. But do you truly mean it? I chose to look at Greta for two reasons. She's an example of a teenager not being taken very seriously, in that most adults only seem to be listening to her. And she's a special case of a girl who took her own initiative. So she illustrates two problems. Only a small percentage of girls feel empowered to take action like she did. And when they do, they are not treated as women, but as kids trying to play in the real world. Greta said at one protest, "It's annoying when people say, oh, you children, you young people are the hope. You will save the world. I think it would be helpful if you could help us just a little bit." So, our goal tonight, empowering women. I said it's a process that starts with us, but really it's a cycle that starts with all adult women and men. You want to build us up? You should be asking us from a very young age, what do you think? How do you think we can solve this? That may be a teacher asking a little girl, how can we make morning drop-off more efficient? Or a fourth grade girls basketball travel coach asking a player, how can we make this offense more effective? Or a high school girls basketball coach asking a freshman on varsity, what's the best way to bond as a team? Or the school board asking a female student, what's the best way to teach kids about sexual assault to stop it from happening? Don't just tell us we can do anything. Show us, ask our opinions, show us how to make our ideas heard and how to take action. Essentially, teach us how to be activists. I think that if every girl grew up that way, having adult conversations and being treated as equals in their houses, schools, teams, and communities, they would feel empowered, like they could do anything. There is no reason why girls cannot make changes on a local, regional, or national level. But that's up to you. We need you to teach us activism, and we need you to listen to us when we come to you with our initiatives. Not just nodding your head along, but actively listening, simultaneously thinking, how can I help make this person's voice heard? This event tonight was inspired by Muffet McGraw, who said she's getting tired of the novelty of the first female governor of this state or the first female African-American mayor of this city. I agree. But I'm also getting tired of the novelty of girls taking a stand against something they believe in. Why is it that when adults tackle female issues, whether it's stopping sexual assault or increasing the number of women in STEM, no one thinks to ask girls what to do? Thank you.